Hello everyone, welcome. This is Heidi from She Shed Arts. Welcome to our tutorial number 1 here today. So we're doing just a series of basic dotting tutorials. Today we are talking about tools. So I'm going to give a few people a little bit of time to get on here, and I'm going to check my other computer. So we'll get started here in just a second. So this is going to be just a real quick little video today. It's going to be a review of tools that you can use around the house, but also tools that you can buy to get started with. So if you're jumping on, make sure you say hey, give me a little shout out so I know that you're there, and we'll look forward to getting a little bit of good information here today. So let me check my computer here, and that way I can see your comments. And there we are, Dotting 101, video number 1, tools. So we're going to talk all about just beginner's tools today. So I'm going to go ahead and get going, and I'll be watching for the comments. If you have a question, please let me know. If I don't get your question answered in the video, I will answer it in afterwards, after the video is done. So just basic things to get us started with. So those of you who are just getting started with dotting, many of you have questions on what kind of tools should I use, where do I go to get my tools, that sort of thing. So hopefully I'll be able to answer a few of those for you today. So the first thing that I want to go over with you is just basic things you can use at home, and I'll show you just samples of how those items dot, because these are going to be a lot of homemade type items. First thing that people always think about when they get started is just a basic pencil. So I usually find that the lead end of the pencil unsharpened, not my favorite. If you have an eraser that has not been used yet, that's a good one to get started with. So let me just show you a little sample of that. So I just dipped it right into my paint, and I've got a piece of cardstock here. We're just going to do some samples here with that, and you can see how that works. Not a great dotting tool, but it will definitely work for practice. So if you're interested in doing some practicing with your dotting, that is a great tool to get started with. Hey Susie, good to see you on here. So another beginner tool that people like to use is a Q-tip. Now, when you get started with a Q-tip, the biggest thing is you want to get that Q-tip dipped in your paint. And then what I'm doing here off to the side, I've got some white here. I just got that Q-tip dipped in the paint, and then I'm just going to push it down onto my paper plate here. And the best way to get a good dotting surface here is to let that dude dry. So once this is dry, you'll have a pretty decent little circle. I don't know if you can see that on there. So a nice little circle there for you to dot with. So that's a great way to just practice. And a lot of these things that you find from home, these are practice tools. They're a great way to get started out. So let's find a couple more objects you may have around. Toothpick is a great one for your small little dots just to get started. So I've just got a regular toothpick here, and you can see I've dotted a little, got a little white paint on there, and that is a great one to use just to get started with. So everybody usually has these sort of items around home. Now we're going to move up to a few other things that you may or may not have at home. A regular paintbrush is a great item to use. You can see that I've got paint on the end of this. When I do my paint parties out and about at venues and things like that, I have a lot of different paintings that people will be using a paintbrush for. So a lot of times they're using that end of that paintbrush. So you can see somebody use this and didn't get it cleaned up. So hey Georgiana, hey Garrett, good to see you guys. So you can see that somebody's used this. So like I said, a lot of these found objects, they're not going to give you great dotting dots as far as like really precise ones, but you can see with this one, it actually does pretty good. So at my regular traditional painting classes, people love to use the end of their paintbrush just for dots. So that's a great way for you to use dots. Now, another thing that I did as far as an object that I made, and this was one when I first got started dotting, I actually did this and was really struggling to find things to use. So I took a pencil, here you can see my pencil, and I actually glued a nickel to that. So I hot glued a nickel there to that, and I'll give you an idea of how this worked. And this was just something that I did at the beginning when I got started, because I was really looking for different items to use. So let me show you how this nickel works. And it just gives you a good basic circle. Not real clean, not great, but it's something big that you can use to get started with. That was one of my very first things that I used. And then I kind of graduated up to finding things like glue sticks. So glue sticks are phenomenal. They do a really nice clean dot. The great thing is there's two different sizes. Hey Jag Dash, how you doing? Hi Georgiana. These are great because you have graduated sizes there to at least get started with something as far as different size dots. So let me show you these. And I tell you what, I still use these a lot. I absolutely love glue sticks, and they generally give you a pretty decent dot. And if you have a new one that doesn't have a lot of leftover paint on it, they will put a pretty good circle on there for you. And they're great for, the larger glue stick is great for a center dot. So I do use that a lot, especially if I'm teaching a class on dotting. You know, the biggest thing there when you're teaching a class is you've got to find a large volume of tools, but at a very economical price. So those I use in my dotting classes all the time. Okay, so one of the other things when I first got started, of course, I think probably most everybody has gone out and purchased these little sponge brushes. Now, I will tell you, I do not like these. I don't prefer them because they don't give a great dot. So these are not something that I use in my artwork, but I'm sure you've probably thought about trying those. And I'll just show you on the small one here. I just dipped that in the brush, and you can see, I mean, I just don't think they give a very good clean dot. There might be something good for a larger surface maybe, but I just never seem to be satisfied with that dot. Now, one thing that I did find out when I started using those is I love the back end of it. So these little sticks that they come on are pretty good for dotting. So let me show you how that works. These are great for just a little beginner practice dot, and you can see how good of a job that does. So I like those, and they come in different size sticks. So when I tried those, of course these were all my beginner stuff. When I tried those, I began to think, okay, wait a minute, let's get some other things. So then I got some of these just the little sponge brushes, and I thought, yep, there's another stick for you. So anytime I use these sponge brushes, when I'm done with them, I just clip that sponge, I just twist it, and the sponge comes off, and I use this end for dotting. So these are great for dotting classes simply because they're inexpensive, and I can do quite a few of those. So, but honestly, I do prefer the glue sticks over these. Here you can see how these look. But I do prefer the look of the glue stick, the dot that those give. Now, I really like yarn needles. So these are just a pack of yarn needles that I believe I bought at Walmart. They're great because they do have a couple different sizes. These are good for making little small dots. So there's your yarn needle. You can see that. It's great for making just little minute dots if you don't have something else, and they're fantastic for cleanup. So those are great. That's just little yarn needles, so great for small little dots. Now, one of the next things that I bought when I was really looking for bigger ways to do dots when I for my dotting classes You know, really the best thing that I always like is just going around, going through your store, whatever your big box store, whatever you've got local, and finding things that are round. So, I mean, it's almost like a scavenger hunt. So when I first started doing classes, I wanted to make sure that I had, once again, enough tools for people to use, but it couldn't be something that was so expensive that I couldn't buy a large number of them. So this is one of my fun little items that I found. Now, you guys may think, what in the world is that? So this is something I got in just the little party section of my Walmart, and it's actually a little container that would have bubbles in it. So I just bought those. They came in a pack of 12. It was fairly inexpensive, just a couple dollars for 12 of them, and I just emptied out the bubble juice, and then this top circle here makes a phenomenal center or starting dot. So I'll show you that. I really loved using that, and it makes a really nice large dot. So those of you who have been dotting for a while, or even if you're just starting out and you're trying this sort of thing, you will realize the larger dots are harder to do, but you can see that one makes a pretty nice uniform dot. Now, at one point in time, I was really looking for items to do large dots because for those of you who haven't been around in a while, you didn't know that I dotted a large 400-pound cement pig. And so I was looking for new and different ways to do these dots. So I really had to come up with my own dotting tools. So I'll show you some of the tools I made for that when I did a really large item. So I actually just collected a bunch of plastic lids, and then I glued a little handle to them. So the handle is something along this line, and it is a little wooden piece that you can get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever craft store you have. I bought a little bag of these guys and glued them onto here. But then I got to looking at that, and of course, what do we have? A circle here that you can use as dotting, a dotting tool as well. So those make great little tools, and what I did was I just made a variety of sizes that I used when I did my large dotting project. So you can see here what I did for those. And some of the dots that I did on my really large project were actually so big that I ended up just drawing circles with a stencil and painting those in. So that was just something I needed to do on that large project. But this is just an idea for you. If you're looking for something different or something really big to do large dots, you can make your own. So, okay, so now let's talk a little bit about things that you can buy or order from a store to get started with your dotting. So, my all-time favorite thing was one thing that I started with, and that was a drill bit set. And I still to this day use these 13-piece drill bit sets. Now this particular set I got from Harbor Freight, which is a local company here where I'm at in Ohio. So Harbor Freight, they have really great tools at a low price. So when I was teaching classes, this was really economical for me to buy these sets of 13 drill bits. And I'll open these up for you, and you can see we've got 13 graduated sizes here. And we've got from the very largest, and the nice thing about this is you're going to use the side that goes into the drill, not the side you drill with. And you can just see that they do make really nice uniform circles. Great way to make your dots, and they go from the very largest down to the teeny tiny little one, and that makes really nice little dots. So great for walking the dots. So I am a huge fan of using drill bits because I think they're a great entry-level tool for people who are just getting started, and just a great all-around tool to use. Another drill bit set that I have, this one was just a basic set that I believe I got at my local store. So again, this one has a little bit more, maybe there's like 23 or 25 pieces here. You're just looking for those graduated sizes. Again, we have the very teeny tiniest little drill bit here. Little teeny tiny, you can see that there. On up to the largest drill bit in this set, which is a pretty good size circle there, you can see, and I'll show you on that one. what kind of dot that makes. So once again, these are great for beginners, but also great for, you know, the more experienced artists to use too. Like I said, I still love using my drill bits simply because they give me a great graduated size. So I love using my drill bits. Then I discovered Pittsburgh punch sets. So for those of you who don't know what a Pittsburgh punch set is, I'll show you the whole set here. It's kind of hard for me to fit it under my camera, but it's called a transfer punch set. And again, I bought this one at Harbor Freight, but these are available on Amazon as well. The nice thing about this is it's a 28-piece set, so it gives you graduated sizes from the very smallest up to the very largest, and I'll show you those. Now, on the punch set, this is the very largest one. You can see how big around that is. The punch sets are traditionally used on this side, and it's to punch a hole in whatever you're working on in your workshop. So that's what a punch set is for. But of course, us dotters, we always take these tools and we use them on the other end because it makes a great circular dot there. So I'll show you how that works. This is the largest one in this set. So that shows you what kind of great dot you can get there. And then I'll pull out the smallest one so you can see that. Once again, these are 28-piece set. So here is the smallest, little tiniest one. Not as small as your drill bit would be, but it still gives you a good option for a small dotting tool. So this one you can see there, and I'll just walk it out a little bit more. You can see they give a nice uniform circle dot. So I do love those. Now, one of the other items that I found at Harbor Freight, and you can get this at just about any store. I don't even know what they're called. They're picks, I believe is what they're called. And these are Pittsburgh tools as well. The nice thing about these are there's a straight one. So if you need to get in straight on your project, that's phenomenal. And those give you just a nice little small dot. You can see how minute those go. That's a wonderful pointed dotter. Then we also have one that has an angle to it, which I love. So these are the Pittsburgh picks. Same company that makes the Pittsburgh punch set. And that just, if you're needing to get in at an angle, it does a really good little, you can see the little teeny tiny dots on that one. I love using that. And then here's another really odd little angled one that works really well too, because you can get that side motion with that. And a lot of times, you know, I see people asking about bending tools. If you have one of these transfer punch set, or I'm sorry, the pick sets, they're a great little set because they are angled. So I do like those, but as you can see, they're minute little bitty dots. So if you need something really small, it's great for that. And then one of my other tools that I started with, this is a needle hook, a rug hook tool. So I like that because it does have a little bit larger surface there, and it is a bent tool. So I love that one too. So those of you who are really looking for that bent tool, this is a really nice one. So you can see it does those small little dots as well. So this is a hook rug tool, and it would be a tool that you would just use on your needle hooking of a rug. So these are great for dotting as well. And then my absolute favorite is my nail art set. So these are fantastic. You can get them at your local beauty supply store, or you can order them on Amazon. They have them all over the place. Amazon, Wish, AliExpress. There's a lot of places that you can find these at a really inexpensive price. The nice thing about these dotters, they're made for nails, to do nail art, so they are very small. For those of you that have not seen these yet, they're really small little knobs at the end to create just your small little dots. So they're fantastic, and they are graduated sizes. If you look at them, they have smaller ends on one end and then larger ends on the other. So it gives you a lot of variety. So if you're really working on a small little dotting project, these are fantastic. I absolutely love these. So one of my favorite tools that I use. Now I use these just about on every project. Okay, so those are some great ideas, just some basic things for you to use with dotting. I'd love to hear any of your other ideas that you have. So if you have new and different ideas that I haven't covered here in today's video, please feel free to add those in. I'd love to see those things in the comments. And if there's something else, another question or something else that you'd like to know about basic dotting tools, please let me know. Please feel free to ask those in the comments. And I do want to invite you to join me tomorrow. I believe I have on the schedule for Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'll be showing you how to make your very own swish dotting tool. So you know the swishes that everybody makes. So you can do these with the nail dotting tools, but so those swishes and swipes, those fun things like this, if you don't have these nail dotting tools or you want to do larger swishes and swipes, I'm actually going to show you how to make your own swish and swipe tools tomorrow. So make sure you join me tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I believe is when I have that down, and it's Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you're in a different time zone and you can't make it to the live, I will be posting these in Love Dots and Mandalas. So make sure if you're not, if you're on my regular homepage and you're not a member of Love Dots and Mandalas, make sure that you request to join. There is a link. If you look under the community tab on She Shed Arts, you will see a link to Love Dots and Mandalas. Make sure you request to join the group there, and you'll find all kinds of wonderful tips and tricks. This video will be located on She Shed Arts and also on Love Dots and Mandalas. And I'll look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow, and we're going to make our own swishes and swipes tools. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.